Hey guys, Matt and Alex with Building the Dream Duluth, and we're here with the owners of Birch and Pine Counseling in Cloquet. Will you guys tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit more about your business?
Yeah, so Ashley Rhodes, I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker and licensed alcohol drug counselor. One of the owners. I don't really know what else to say about that. We own a business?
Yes, we do. I'm Bailey Homestead, the co-owner. I'm also an LICSW, and a little bit of about our business is we serve clients from 0 to whatever age. I would say 100, but people outlive 100. So
we don't discriminate against people older than 100.
If you make it past 100.
Yeah, early childhood all the way to geriatrics.
Mm-hmm. And we provide services in the community. We have 2 different locations, one in Cloquet, one in Duluth. We also offer school-based services, and it's a little bit.
We provide a lot of clinical internships too.
Yeah.
To St. Scholastica, UMD, UWS. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go a little bit into your guys' journey. How did you get started in this career field and in business in general?
Do you want to go first?
I can go first. Starting in the career field, initially I actually went the law enforcement route. That was my goal. And then I started to realize that I wanted to be a little bit more in the mix of being able to help people, and that I was terrified of the dark. So didn't think that would work out well. So I went back for my bachelor's at CSS and ended up completing that and started in the field and realized that I wanted to do more clinical work. And that's how I got to that point. And then Ashley and I were working, we've been friends for a long time and went to undergrad together and then worked at a different practice together. Yeah. I don't know, what about you?
For me, I think mental health has always been something that I've been really passionate about. I had a family member with very severe, persistent mental illness, and so that I think is what really struck my interest first. And then I have done a few different things. I've worked with women escaping human trafficking and domestic violence. I worked at an adolescent outpatient treatment center. I obviously did schooling for drug and alcohol counseling, and then came back and did schooling at St. Scholastica for my master's, and decided to go a clinical therapy route. So and then Bailey and I worked together at a different community mental health practice, and following there we had left and went to a different private practice. And I think kind of throughout that journey we were like, you know what, we totally want to create something that is unique to our community, that is kind of grassroots for us. I mean, this is our hometown.
Yes.
And where we were raised. So we wanted to be able to have really great resources in a very small community. So we were like,
Let's do it. And we really wanted our practice to be inviting and really being that grassroots, down to earth. And we have great clinicians that work with us and help found what we were doing. And we really were like, let's do this. Especially, again, I guess go back to the hometown piece. Growing up here, we knew we could see how addiction and mental health has really impacted our community. And yes, there are resources, but there's also a lack of resources. So we really wanted to fill in that bridge and that gap in a way that is just down. I don't want to use the word down to earth, but I think
sometimes, especially when you grow up in a small community, there can be some mistrust for outside resources, right? And when you have people who have grown up here, and we still know a lot of the teachers, we know a lot of the community members. I think there's a piece of trust that people have of oh, I know Ashley, she grew up here. I know Bailey, she grew up here, right? So people will refer and send to us because they know that at the end of the day we're good humans, and our mission is to be able to help and provide services here. And so I think that was something that really set us apart too, is because we care so much about our community and fought so hard to be able to have really good quality services here that
that's why we're here.
Yeah, and the community trusted us and supported us behind that dream. So
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk a little bit about the transition from working in a clinic setting to opening your own, and what was that like? What are some of the differences that you saw, and what was it like?
And I guess reasons why you wanted to pursue it too.
Yeah.
Because you could have been comfortable in your own role, but then
That's a great question.
That's a super great question.
I think a part of it was having, to some degree, like designing and creating what we wanted, how we wanted to look, how we wanted to serve people. From the minute that you walk in that door, like we want you to feel comfortable and at home and know that you're going to get that choice of that provider, and that provider is going to be authentic. And you walk into each one of our providers' offices, and you're going to see that their own personalities, their own views, their own values are coming out, and that is what we want in each individual. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I feel like that was one of the.
It's that we don't like that clinical sterile feel.
Yeah.
I think when you go to like a larger facility, you're going to have a lot more of that like kind of clinical sterile feel. And so I think that's one of the biggest differences is that we have our own autonomy to kind of create the culture and environment that we want to be able to have here. And we get to kind of create our own rules. I mean, legally, there's still things that follow.
not all
But,
rules,
yes,
but
right. But we get to kind of create and cultivate our own kind of culture and atmosphere here that you aren't always able to have when you are working for somebody else.
At a larger practice.
Right.
One of the things we really, with our clinicians and ourselves, we wanted more of that flexible schedule. And so we wanted, and for our clients, right? So it serves both purposes where we want our clinicians to be able to kind of pick their hours, do what they need to do, and balance that family life outside of here. And we see that in our clinicians, in our culture too, where our culture is maintained healthy, and we keep moving forward with that. And I feel like, yeah.
I think that flexibility is one of the biggest pieces for us because Bailey and I, when we first created Birch and Pine, our kids were pretty small, they were young, and so the flexibility of being able to create our own schedule that matched like school conferences or sports activities was really helpful, and so we carried that with our clinicians as well. Like if you've got family events, if you've got, your family comes first, and so we really work to make sure that our mental health is taken care of, our clinicians' mental health is taken care of, that their family life is taken care of. Like, yes, we have a job and a duty to do, but at the end of the day, like, your family and your mental health matter. We can't do what we do if you're not okay.
Right, you can't pour into somebody else's cup if your cup's not full. And I think one thing that I'm really proud of that we've cultivated is every month we try to do a half a day where we shut down with our staff and we do a fun activity so that we can relax and just enjoy one another. And so we can continue to grow that culture. And we encourage our clinicians too, if there's other stuff that they want to do outside of here, they get to do other adjunct instructing, or if they want to like start learning or building their own individual piece of therapy or what they're doing, we encourage that, because that was one thing at larger practices where you're unable to do, where there were kind of restrictions around that. So if they want to create a program, great, let's do it. How do we support you? How do we support your passion and your interest in what we're doing?
And I think that is also to a benefit of the patient too, because that therapist then can really put their own creativity and they can put their real own passion and energy into something, and having the support from the clinic is only going to be a benefit to the patient as well, because it's really what they want to do. It's not it's not scripted. It's not the same thing that every other clinician is doing. It's really from their own heart and their own passion. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
That's neat.
It is.
Wow.
Thank you.
We did a good
And as
job.
you're saying that, I'm reflecting, right? Like you're gonna walk through the hallway and you're gonna see we got baseballs outside, we have footballs going on, we have different art stuff going on. Like so, you're watching each clinician really take their own passion and apply that into their work.
Yeah, or you see dogs.
Right.
And that, I mean, then people can really choose like the clinician that's right for them as well. Everybody's going to have somebody who fits really well with them, or maybe the alternative where, hey, this isn't a good fit, but maybe you're a better fit for someone else. So being able to have a little more creativity, I think, is really valuable.
Yeah.
It definitely sets you guys apart. When it comes to working together as a team, how'd you guys figure out that you wanted to start this business together? I know that you said you were friends prior, but friendships and family don't always turn into the best business relationships. So how do you guys navigate that, and why did you decide to do it?
So I think it came again, like we were talking about, we really wanted to create an environment. It really, those were those conversations of like we collectively gained a lot of knowledge from our previous practices, and we're like, okay, we loved what they did, and this is how we can put our spin on it. So there was a lot of conversations around what do we do? Who's coming with us? How are we going to build this?
Yeah, I think, you know, Bailey and I, when we were in our undergrad together, we had joked around about like how cool would it be if we opened up like our own clinic and did our own mental health services in Cloquet, and it was always just like a pipe dream at that time. But as we gained so much knowledge in the field and kind of watched how other people did things we liked, things we didn't like, we kind of were like, no, we can totally do this, right? And then, right, like Bailey was saying, it became a conversation of, okay, so let's do this. What do we need to do to make it happen? And kind of, you know, people finding out we were going to do it, and then, you know, having conversations. They were like, we want to, you know, hop with you guys. We want to do this with you. And just, you know, having lots of support. And yeah, originally it was just going to be Bailey and I, and then after, you know, people kind of realized that we were going to create something, we had quite a few people. I think we started with, was there 5 of us?
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've grown to, I think there's 12 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And I think, you know, in figuring out, as you asked, kind of those friendships and then moving into business partners. So one thing that we trust each other.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, we've built the safety around being able to have the hard conversations, tough conversations. I think I go back to when we first started working, like as we shifted into these roles, it was like, well, I don't love this. And there would be discussions where we were like, okay, fine. I still care about you, but we're not talking today.
There was one very specific one where I was very pregnant at the time. And
the finger.
She was tapping so our offices were like across from each other, and she was tapping her finger on the table. And I could hear it across the hall, and I was like, I swear to God, if you keep tapping your finger, like I'm gonna freak out. And so like we've definitely had those moments, but we trust and love each other so much that like we can have really, really hard conversations, and you know, kind of come back around to it. And it's not something that I think part of it comes naturally, but part of it was really hard work. Like we've had really hard discussions, we've had really hard decisions. We at the end of the day hold so much respect for each other, and we know that like we're never going to do anything or make a decision that's going to harm ourselves or anybody else. And so when we have really hard conversations, we're able to do it in a way that propels us forward instead of setting us backwards. And so I think, you know, we've been friends for what, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, it's been,
so, you know, we've had years of practicing communication with each other and problem solving, and we've been through so many difficult life things
moments,
together,
yeah.
that at the end of the day, we're like, you know, whether business succeeds or fails, we're always going to still be friends and maintain that at the end. And so I think that kind of helped. And then when we were creating our paperwork for the business, we actually put a clause in there that if any of us ever wants to leave or quit or be done with the business, we actually have to go to therapy together first. So no decisions.
Couples therapy,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for
it's like-
business couples?
Yeah.
So it's actually a clause in our contract with each other that we have to go to therapy first before we make any like life-altering decisions. So.
Yeah. And I think it has been, you know, I was thinking about some of those tough decisions or when things have been stressful. I mean, it's building a business, it's starting, and some of those decisions of how that's going to down the road affect our clinicians, that, okay, yes, we have to do this here, but that's going to affect them there. And then how do we come back to that? How do we know what we're doing is ethical, what's right? So it's, you know, you think about those hard moments, and yeah.
And I think that's one thing too that we're both very, very good at, is we're both very ethical people, and so we always make decisions on what is for the greater good, what is going to ultimately be in alignment with our values and goals and beliefs. And so we make decisions that are kind of born from that place.
Yeah, and the growth, I feel like as we're talking about that, reflecting on the growth that we've had over that journey where, you know, we only knew so much. It was such surface level where it's like, okay, we're going to make this decision. And then it's like, well, shit. Okay, we made decision A, now we got to come back and
There's
repair.
another decision after this.
Yeah. And so then just being able to really lay out now where I feel like it was like survival at
Yeah.
first,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you get there that first year and you're like, okay, we made it. Now we can start planning for year 2, 3, 10, 20, where then, we can kind of breathe and step back and go, we've learned a lot through this process.
I think that first year was the scariest. So, like, not knowing, like, when we created it, we were doing therapy in the parks, right? We didn't have a building 100% completed at that time. And so we didn't know, like, is this going to be fruitful for everybody, right? Are we gonna, our clinicians gonna get paid? Are we gonna get paid? How is this all gonna go? I mean, we literally, it was a gamble of, is this
Figuring
gonna
it out
work?
along the way.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Because-
fuck around and find out, right?
Right.
Like,
And we found out. And I think that is the, we had a lot of transparency. I think it's not talked about a lot when you start a business. There's a lot of difficulties in overhead and financials. And who do you trust? Like, where do you start to learn to build connections in the community of, like, who do you go for taxes? Who do you go for investment? Where do you go here? And so that's one of the processes we've learned, kind of the hard way.
Yep.
And which has been beneficial because now we know, like, we have this person, we have that person we can connect with. And and the clinicians that started with us too, they had to have trust, a lot of trust in, not that we were blindly leading, but right? Like,
I think that's the part that makes me, like, the most emotional when I think about our, like, don't cry. That when I think about our story is that we had so many people trusting and putting their faith into us that it was going to be successful, and we didn't know if it actually was or not. Like, these were people's families and livelihoods that they jumped with us, and they put all of their faith and trust into us, and thankfully everything worked out. But I just am so grateful for those people that did decide to jump, and they followed us through. And not even just our clinicians, but even clients. We had clients who, as we were creating this, they knew we were creating it, and we didn't know what it was going to be, and they said, we don't care, we'll follow you. And so that was also, I mean, just the faith of our clients, the faith of our clinicians that everybody had in us to create this.
Yeah, the gratitude of, like, I just remember busting out painting. What did we do it in, like, a day? Everybody,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
like, in a day, everybody's here. They're painting. They're, they're giving their time and energy, and they're still, the ones that are still with us. It's phenomenal. Like, they saw it through, and now they're seeing that building. Because there were points where we were honest. We're like, okay, guys, we're up and rolling, but we're learning how to have reimbursements come through. So guess what? We need to get caseloads up, or this needs to happen. And so they buckled in, and they've been here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so obviously you spoke to some of the things as you were starting out the business. Hey, we didn't have a space fully available yet. What were some of the other struggles or roadblocks that came up in the beginning, and how did you overcome them, and what things did you have to overcome?
Well, I think right away in the beginning, obviously space was a big one. We started with just this location, and thankfully some friends of ours, Ryan Lindstrom and Zach Szalka, helped us with obtaining this building, and did construction in here so that we could get up and moving, which was super great. And like Bailey said, we pumped out the paint, but I think some of the biggest struggles were waiting for contract agreements to come through with insurance companies, and that's how we get paid, right, is reimbursements. And so Bailey and I, for the first several months, I want to say at least 3 or 4 months, we did not take a paycheck. So we wanted to make sure that our clinicians got paid, and they're going to watch this and be like, we had no fucking idea.
Yeah, no, guys, you did not. You don't need to have that
Right,
idea
right.
because
But we didn't, like, things were really hard, and thankfully, like, on the back end, we had family supporting us. We leaned on other entrepreneurs from the area that had been in business and had walked through some of these struggles, who would help us navigate through different pieces, like get in contact with this person or talk to this person. And so I think that was super beneficial to lean on people who had been doing this.
And I think about after that, one of the other difficult pieces, and still we're learning that transition, like, yes, we are a mental health practice. We care about feelings, mental health, how we're doing, and we're a business. So that was a struggle from the beginning of, we are now business owners versus co-workers. We are business owners. We have to look at the best interest for the business 5 years in advance, where, yes, on the heart side of us, it would be like, oh no, like you're struggling with this, or you need time off, or we understand all that, yes, and then we had to really shift that mindset to now we are business owners and we have to also put the business first. So that was a really hard shift, and at times still can be, is that difficulty in navigating how do we manage in a way that is...
How do we make decisions that will keep us running in another 5 years? Or
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the biggest struggles, is just learning how the business world operates, because we don't have business backgrounds. We didn't go to school for business. We went to school for mental health. Right?
Yeah.
We have master's degree in mental health. And so learning what it means to run a business,
Yeah. That's a whole different
That's
beast.
trippy.
Yeah, and shifting some of those relationships from friendships to then business relationships. Like, how do we now manage our friends? A few of them that came along with us.
Yeah.
So that's been a transition. And again, the gratitude that they've came along with that. Yeah, it's been trippy. Taxes. What else? Like the things you don't know. Like, yeah, you can Google stuff, you can chat GBT, and then it's like, wait, but you didn't fill this form out.
Yeah.
You need this license. You need these different things.
That was the biggest thing, is like learning who's actually going to be helpful and who is just trying to like make a profit out of you. And so finding people who are actually have your best interest in mind was super difficult, and it took us a minute to navigate and figure out, and now we've got some super awesome people. We've got a great tax accountant, we've got a great bookkeeper, like we just have great people now, but it took a couple of years of falling flat on our fucking faces.
Yeah, sure did.
To figure out exactly how to manage life.
Yeah. And I do recall that there was, now it is kind of a funny story regarding one of your first purchases, the tablecloth. There was a disheartening adventure. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
So we had a different location up in Duluth. This location had some, how do I want to say this?
Characters.
Yes, characters.
Well, Bailey was in the building at like 7 a.m. that
Yep.
morning, and someone had come in while she, I think, was in a session.
Yes.
And had gone into our suite and actually swept through everything and stole her car keys, stole money, her AirPods. And the first purchase that we had ever made with our Birch and Pine money, which was a beautiful tablecloth for tabling events with our logo and everything on it. Like, not the biggest financial expense.
We were
ever.
really proud of it,
But
though.
it was like
we were so
it
proud.
was the first
Yes.
thing that you
It
guys
was
had,
Like-
it had your logo. This is us. This is
Yes, we were doing this.
Hey kids, we've got a table.
And
Yes.
somebody took that right out of our room.
Yes.
Family photo.
It really was.
Well, and that was so when Bailey calls me and she tells me like someone just came through and stole a bunch of stuff, I was literally like, well, what did they take? And she's like telling me her keys and her AirPods, and I was like, oh man, did you call the police? And she's like, oh, and they took a tablecloth. And I was like, what? Tablecloth?
I'm
Which
going
one?
right now.
Yeah, so I actually did head up to Duluth after that, while they were remaking her keys. So
Yeah, because I couldn't get into my car, and I didn't even recognize that at that point that those keys were gone, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and Ashley's like, I want this tablecloth
Yeah,
back.
and so the police had actually caught the person who stole all of this stuff, and they recovered her AirPods and all, you know. all
The
things.
AirPods, yeah, a few different things.
Yeah, and so we had asked them, but did you find a tablecloth?
Yeah.
And they were like,
No.
unfortunately.
No such
no,
luck.
no.
To this day, I will still like
Be on the
for it?
lookout.
Yes.
I'm still on the lookout for a Birch and Pine black tablecloth.
So if you see it,
Yeah. A PSA first.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was definitely a bummer. We finally now just bought a new.
we thought, yeah, like I think we
Oh,
were a little
We've
reluctant.
recovered.
Yes.
I was real reluctant to like recreate another one because we worked so hard on that one.
We
and It
did.
was such a beautiful design and everything.
Did you sew an air tag into this one?
That might be a good idea.
Actually, a really good idea. But so we finally just got it replaced because little passive aggressive, not wanting to, but
Not all the other merchandise we've ordered, but
Yeah,
there's,
not-
yeah,
it
that's
was-
We're gonna find it.
yeah. So yeah.
So after all the struggles and stuff that you guys have been through transitioning from working under somebody to owning your own practice, would you do it again? Is it worth the struggle? Is it worth this to be business owners, or would you prefer to fall back into a clinician role again?
That depends on the day.
Right, yes.
I think honestly, overall for me, from speaking personally, I would do it 100% all over
Yes.
again because I get to run a business with my best friend. We get to create our own schedules, and we get to teach our kids, you know, really cool things about
Yeah.
like, you know,
Business.
being a dream. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Building the
I see.
Yeah,
What,
there we
I
go.
see what you did there.
That's funny. But you know that those are lessons. You get one life, and you know if we hadn't decided to just jump, I don't know where we would be or what we would be doing.
I would do it over 100%. Would I like the knowledge that came with it? Yeah, there's sometimes like I'll be at home at night thinking about that. I'm like, man, if I just knew what I knew, we would be in such a different position. But that's the fun part of it. And I couldn't imagine where I'm at and just the confidence and growth that I've like had in myself and who I am as a human if it wouldn't have been for this, because it's allowed me to chase other dreams and other things I've wanted to do. Like adjunct instructing was a huge thing. I never had the courage. And so that after this I was like, well, I can run a business. I think I can teach I think I can teach a course. And so it's opened those pieces. It's opened our dreams and aspirations of creating other programs and doing other things. And my kids, it's so cool. At the end of the day, I don't think we like play it up by any means, but like they'll ask those questions about like work or these things. And it's like, yeah, guys, like I want you to do different than I did. I want you to like have more financial freedom and do these things and investing. Like my 15-year-old now is already investing. And I'm like, how wild is that? I wouldn't have known how to do that, but he learned that through watching what we're doing and understanding like how hard we're working.
Yeah, and I think it's the days that are really tough when you have to make really like tough
Crappy decisions.
That it's like, man, I wish somebody else would be the boss.
No one's going to save you.
Right.
Yeah, no, and that's the scary part. No one's coming to save you, right? Like, we help take care of our clinicians, right? But like at the end of the day, everything falls on us, and so I think it's just like that coping skill sometimes.
You like look around the room, you're like, oh, somebody, oh wait, that's
someone
us.
should call the boss.
That's us. It's us. Yeah. And the other part of like, if we're not doing what we're doing, we would not be able to see our clinicians and what they're doing with their lives and watching them grow as humans. And we could have done that in a different capacity as clinical supervisors at somewhere else. But like, we get to help mold that and create it for them. And we know it's a safe, ethical environment. Yeah. And it's so cool to see what they're going to do. And
watching them like grow and chase their dreams is super fun too.
Yeah, cool. Any anything else that you would say to somebody who's maybe interested in pursuing something in a similar field or taking a similar path that even a few years ago you would have said or wanted to learn? What are some of the things that you would share to those people who would potentially be interested in entrepreneurship or starting a practice, anything like that?
Yeah, I would say do it.
Yeah.
I really think that yes, it's scary, but I think that sometimes people make it scarier than it actually is, or more difficult than it actually is. Like, I didn't realize how easy it was to create an LLC.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
$130 online.
Yeah, there you go. I got a business name. Here's insurance.
Just make sure you
Boom.
spell it right.
Yes.
That's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But I just do it
Yeah.
because again, I'm going to go back to like you have one life to chase and create whatever it is that you want, and you're only going to go as far as you push yourself to. And so if you don't do it now, when are you?
Yeah, 100%. If I would have had somebody walk back and talk to me about the business part of it, I would do it, and understanding that you're running a business, and so that giving that advice of like, do it well, run a business. If you fail, you're going to fail. Whatever is going to happen, but you have the chance and you get to be happy. And just those connections, I think the networking would be something I would love to be able to share if we could go back or provide that information for others. Like, who is it? How do you help people resource? Yeah.
And I think the other like advice that I would give is make sure that you have really good accountants in your corner, bookkeepers in your corner, a very good lawyer in your corner. Those are all things that we utilize often and have, and so that would be my advice, I guess. Do it and get some good team members.
And take the support. When people are trying to support you, take the support and have a lot of conversations and ask questions. That's the other piece. I'm like really proud of that as we're talking. We're not afraid to like cold call places and be like, hey, this is what we have going on. And there's a humility to it of like, we don't know what we're doing. So yes, like help us, teach us, we will learn, and then we give that back in ways that we can. Yeah.
And I think that's a thing that we hear often as well is you can just start, and you'll figure it out along the way. You might not have a building ready. You might not, you know.
Might be teaching or doing sessions in J Cook.
Yes,
but
yeah.
you'll figure it out along the way as long as you try. If you spend too much time thinking about it or trying to perfect everything before you get there, there's going to be problems that you're going to overlook anyway. I mean, and the longer you wait, the more time passes anyway, and you know, will you ever do it then? So, you know, obviously be strategic about it, but do it. I think is a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those first conversations about as you and I are sitting down together as a group of like, are we doing this? Well, shit, we're doing it. I remember calling my brother and, you know, sister-in-law, and it's like, he's like, you're doing it. And I was like, we're doing it. And how many times we called Brandon and we're like, okay, what do we do with this? What do we, you know, we went out to Georgia. We flew out to Georgia to meet with my brother and his wife to give us some support. And it's like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, her brother is a very good entrepreneur, and so we jumped a plane, went to Georgia, and got some advice from him.
And drove back.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's been a ride, and I think the cool thing is I just spit everywhere, but the cool thing is that we started with just doing therapy, right? Like clinicians seeing clients, and now we are moving into, you know, different kind of cool programs and creating different things, and that's kind of
the next step.
The next step is doing more with animals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
yeah.
So you guys have definitely established a great community here, lovely practice. Sounds like everybody loves working here. People love coming here. Is there any last words that you have for our viewers, or any, if they're interested to learn more, how they can get in touch with you?
Yes, you can check out our website to get in contact with us.
Or give us a call.
Give us a little jingle. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't get stuck in your head about it. Just do it. Like, fear often stops people from doing things that they should do or are meant to do. Or maybe it's people in your life creating fear for you. Just do it.
Yeah.
And
I think about, like, for me, this Brene Brown, where she talks about if you're in the arena, and if you're not in the arena getting your ass kicked with me, like, I don't want to hear it. Because there are so many people that they love to give unsolicited advice. And it's like, if you're
They
not...
don't have the same, you know, they don't have the same skin in the game. It's easy to stand outside the arena and say, hey, another left hook, but you don't know what it's like until you're really in there.
Until you're in that arena and you're getting your ass kicked, I don't want to hear it. And I feel like that's been a big part of one thing I've learned through this journey too.
yeah, we had to stop listening to people that hadn't done this, who just wanted to just spitball advice without any like experience or knowledge in it, and so
Yeah.
So do it.
Ashley, Bailey, thank you so much. Again, Birch and Pine Counseling here in Cloquet and in Duluth. Thanks so much for sharing your story and taking the time to sit down with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.